Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to What Guinea Reads. This is me, Shweta, with Guinea and Polemy. Um, so, you already know every time we bring one book which helps us and you trigger conversations on empathy, diversity, disability, and other aspects. So, Polemy, very eager to know which book have you brought today for Guinea and children.
And Tango Makes Three. This is one of the most favorite book. I think I've blogged about it, and I think a book which is like some multiple things to unfold in the first place. Um, it's written by Peter Purnell and Justin Richardson, illustrated by Henry Cole, and it's actually based on a true story. And there is a reason where the people who wrote this book. Um, it actually is a story about the New York Central Park Zoo. Um, there are these chin strap penguins who are there, right? And Ray and Silo are two such penguins, male penguins, who see that, every summer there are these penguins who are coming, they are becoming friends with each other, and then they have eggs, right? And little penguins come up. They sit on something which is like an egg like. And so, what Ray and Silo does is like they go and sit on a stone. Sometimes Ray sits, sometimes Silo sits. But when summer ends, the other eggs hatch, but this was a stone, it doesn't. So the zookeeper saw this. There was one abandoned egg. They actually hand over that egg to these penguins. They take care of it, and soon comes this little penguin who they name as Tango. So Tango has two fathers, right? And so they have a lot of fun. And and the story is about um, Tango and the family that Tango belongs to, because Ray and Silo are parents and they teach just like any other penguin mom and dad. These two dads actually teach Tango many, 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 many things. And that's the story in a nutshell. But I think it's also a beautiful story which speaks about different kinds of families, a longing, um different kinds of parenting in the first place, and at the same point in time also acceptance, right? I mean, um, Tango wholeheartedly accepts his dad's, and they are fine, and so does the world in the penguin world so far. um, how it is relatable to our world through this story to the children is to be seen. It's a real story, and it's written by Peter Purnell, who is an LGBTQ activist and actually has a life with his partner in this way. I find it's a very, very heartwarming and touching story. One of the very first stories that we read with Zuni. So she knows Tango very well. She also understands that there can be families where there can be one father, two father, one mother, no parents. It's also not necessarily that uh, all kids will come from the same egg, right? It can also be from somewhere else, as long as it is a family where you get the basic the basics the basic ingredients of security, love, safety. That's what makes a family, not only a biological lineage and every other thing. I think it's a very important. I mean, I don't want to be preachy, but it's a very it's a nice book to start these conversations with kids at a very, very subtle age, because everywhere we see also heteronormativity playing out in a way. Kids are much more accepting. So the sooner we start, uh, I think the better it is for the future generation to accept that there are different ways of having families.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and I agree, this with this point that the sooner you start with children, because they're anyway open, if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't start pushing your own rules and your own way of thinking too much, children are open towards so many things already. You just need to introduce them and keep introducing them to things as they are in the world. Uh,
Mm.
it does sound like a great book to start off many conversations, not
Absolutely.
like on family, on relationships, on caring.
Adoption, yeah,
Yeah,
many, many
so
other
many
things,
things.
right?
Yeah.
And it's a lovely, if you look at the illustrations, it's extremely child friendly. It's not preachy in the first place. Also, Shweta, there is a difference between children and us. as I always keep on saying, how we are decoding and processing it, these questions often don't even come to children. They don't even bother. Okay, where did the egg come from? At least at this age, right? Unless there are continuous dialogues which are very contradictory for them, that's a different case altogether. Then, I mean, introduction of this book itself is a struggle. It's a different conflict that you are bringing in. But most of the time, if it's in a situation where they are exploring, they are pretty happy, I think these questions will only not come. It's basically you are exposing them um, to facts, right? Which may not be the really lived fact, but it's also another fact, and they register it, and it comes out how they when actually exposed in real life, how they take it up. It's as simple as that. It's not like a very planned thing that you're preparing, you're having dialogue. No, it's a story, and they understand, acha ye bhi hota hai, okay, theek hai, that's it. So the more so-called your non-lived realities, the altered realities of others, if we bring and if we read and speak about children, I think that's where uh, um, the dialogues or the preparation of empathy comes, because empathy will also come from a bed of acceptance that these all happens, right? And so now that I know, how am I going to respond to this?
Right. So I'm very curious to know, Palme, because you said like this was also one of the initial books that you read with your
Hmm.
daughter. So which part is like the most favorite one in this book?
Oh, I think the okay, that's a very this thing. I will show you that. I think this one, when another egg was put into the stone nest that they had created. Um, and I think Zuni was smart enough to understand, right? And said, "Oh, acha, okay. So the baby penguin now will come to this family, okay? And now they will have a family, क्योंकि वो tango को तो family मिल गया, right?" And and that is that. I think that is the part she liked most. And of course, last page, when all the kids come to see the penguins and stuff, those are the things. But that's a point, because I think it's important. I still remember it because I was struggling at that point in time to say, okay, I read it, but I was also back calculating, trying to understand over process. But I think it was pretty smooth, and that was the time that was fun, because then the anticipation begins, that when the eggs will hatch off, and when the baby penguin will come.